Welcome back to my journey of practicing and not being able to do anything on time. My main idea for this blog was to capture how I practice and what progress am I making. I didn't buy any courses, I simply took information from Nia's video, who is a former student from FZD school, which I like a lot. I only see the outcome of her practice pieces. I don't actually know what and how they've been taught. It does make things a little difficult, but I believe you can find any information online on YouTube for free to learn how to draw like a student from that school. This week I started with reminding myself of all the basics again. The first thing and the easiest thing I started doing is 1-point perspective. I just did a simple flying cubes to get used to it and to remind myself of how it works. After that, I needed to do 8 compositions with 1-point perspective, which was surprisingly quite fun to do as I got to experiment with different shapes in simple perspective. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't pay that much attention to composition and how interesting it is, as it wasn't the main point of the task. The second class I did is design sketching. I found this class very useful as I learn about animals and different creatures as I go. This week I had to sketch birds and underwater creatures. Some of them I never knew they existed before I started researching them. The more pictures of them I see and the more sketches I do, I learn something new that I can later use in the future ideas and concepts. I think what I can also do is research a bit more about them, so I don't just get visual idea of what they are, but also their purpose and how they work, especially if that's an unusual creature. Then I moved on to visual communication class, where I was supposed to do 2 complex shapes, but I did kinda gave up after one. Not the best way to do it, but I didn't have any energy left. I did figure out how to properly do it next week though, so I'm not that big of a loser. I also was struggling finding tutorials for this topic, as not a lot of people seem to do it that way. I did find a few on the Modern Day Jam channel, but after watching his video, I still struggle to get proper squares. I'm not sure how Nia did such a perfect squares and if there's any secret techniques I'm missing. The last class of the week was forms and materials. The task was pretty much the same as last week's one, to draw a few complex shapes and then construct shadows and render the light. I did get used to constructing shadows a bit more, but I'm still not sure if all of them is super correct, as I don't really have a way to check it, apart from constructing them in Blender, I guess. The problem is that they're really hard to create the exact same situation in there, and if I do have some issues with the way I construct them, I won't be able to know. That was it for the second week. I will be trying to spend a bit more time on actually researching different techniques next week to make sure that I'm not making big mistakes, because something tells me that I might be making them. Thanks for watching and see you next week.